Hello Internet, let's talk about our wonderful Dragon Ball Super 1 hour special. And also the beautiful stuff that kind of came with that. And the answers in which that we have been, that they decided to answer. So let's jump into this week's, anime recap with Dragon Ball Super 109 and 110. Starting this off, let's actually talk about the questions that have been answered this week, or in these last two episodes. And the first question, which was posed all the way back during Universe 7 and 6 tournament. What question was that? And it was, who is the warrior out there who is stronger than a god of destruction? We finally got that answer, even though we've known that for a while now. Of course, it's Jiren of the Pride Troopers. And what does that necessarily mean, or what is his power? Well, now this episode goes on to call it Ultra Instinct, which again was something that Whis has been talking about, which does potentially give somebody the power to fight on par or above a god of destruction, because even Beerus himself hasn't necessarily mastered it. So what does that necessarily mean? That means that this person can just react, and do things that most likely you don't have to waste time thinking about. Like plenty of people, they talk about that like in martial arts and everything. So like they do kind of use that here. However, I'm not going to touch on that just yet. I'm going to leave that for the special transformation. But through all intents and purposes, yeah, basically Jiren is the character who is stronger than a god of destruction. So moving on to the scenes, starting off with scene number 1, which was, in this case, a good chunk of that comes from 109. I'm going to break this down into 4 scenes specifically. Well, not necessarily like scenes. I'm going to talk about the 4 main attributes that made this episode what it is. I just call them scenes. But jumping into scene number 1, we start off most prominently with the whole Brienne versus Goku thing, which she goes on to say that she's using the Dragon Balls to become a goddess of love, to spread love all over the universe, and she wants to know what Goku's reason is. And he promptly says what he always says. He doesn't really want them. He might use them for like his wife or his kids, but overall he wants to fight a stronger opponent. Which of course she laughably says is her, and then she uses her friends to transform into some brand new form, of course, which promptly gets beat down, because, you know. However, this does lead into scene number 2. Now, what is scene number 2? Scene number 2 leads into, okay, we have Goku versus Jiren, which is masterfully done, okay, which that, of course, a few people, like, they always ask that question of why hasn't Goku gone 100%, why has he been holding back so far, you know, so on and so forth. And this one moment, Krillin does a good job of actually giving us a 100% reason as to why Goku has been holding back, well, now throughout this entire tournament. And it is, number 1, Jiren has been watching him, and he has been like on his radar, and he does not want to show him every single piece of his energy. So basically, every single time he's going Super Saiyan Blue, it's just been like a little, like a tiny physical energy of him just bow, get off me, or like I gotta get over here really quickly, or whatever, you know. So that's kind of where that goes. So this episode, we kind of have them squaring off, and of course Goku starts off with a Kamehameha, you know, and Jiren starts up with a massive ki wave so strong that it shakes the void itself. Now this may not be his maximum, but it's some of his power, and it's scary. Versus watching Goku like go Super Saiyan and trying to hit him, then going 2 and trying to beat on him. However, some people, they do say that it's kind of bad that he didn't go 3, but at this point, like 3 is not, like 3 burns through too much energy for him to practically use that in a fight against Jiren. So that's off the table, you know. So Super Saiyan God, this is when things get interesting, because now Jiren's moving. Well, he's moving a finger, but all the previous hits, they didn't do anything to him. That one finger movement was something. Then Blue Blue was something to actually get him to move around a little bit, but even with that, he's still strong enough to fend Goku off and almost knock him off the side. However, just to keep Jiren, man, from basically, man, like manhandling him, he has to go Kaioken. You know, or Kaioken times 20 just to fight the guy off, which finally ends with him using a Spirit Bomb, which Vegeta promptly says, "Fuck that, I'm not part of that. That move is stupid." So, you know. And, which, interestingly enough, though, I don't know why Goku even used that in the first place. Well, I guess he probably used it to sort of push him off. But the thing is, though, is that when you think about it, is that Goku can't go Super Saiyan do the Spirit Bomb, as Krillin says now, is that it builds up a malicious aura and it taints the move. So he has to stay in his base form to do it, so that he can put goodwill and nature into the move, so that he can use it against somebody. However, if that person also shares the same beliefs he does, it's not going to hurt that person. However, oddly enough, because of the Spirit Bomb, it leads to scene number 3, which gives us our biggest DBZ moment, or Dragon Ball Super moment ever. Which that, moving on to scene number 3, Goku actually absorbs the Spirit Bomb, or at least they both kind of clash for a little bit. Goku gets hit with his own Spirit Bomb, and he promptly absorbs it. And when he absorbs it, he comes back like in this ultra key form, where like as on the intro, like instead of him having like just like his base form, like he has a blue aura around him, silver eyes, you know, just what all the pictures tell us. And he promptly like shows that he's at a higher level than or at least like he's on a higher level than what Jiren previously fought. Because again, originally, like, man, when he went Super Saiyan, this stuff kind of brought out like negative emotions of him wanting to destroy his enemy. I mean, like, you even see this with Super Saiyan 4, of him saying that the form is so powerful that it pulls out his primal anger, and so that he has to react like in a violent way. Super Saiyan Blue, on the other hand, and Super Saiyan God is a more elevated form, man, where basically he's not necessarily angry, but he's more enlightened to combat and everything. Whereas this one, on the other hand, he doesn't speak, he calmly walks, and most of his movements, they act as though he's not necessarily really moving, like he's just thinking, and it just happens. Well, he's not even thinking, like his body just reacts and takes care of things. Now, this does lead to a pretty good back and forth between what this is, and Beerus once again calls it the Ultra Instinct, which again, you see some gods worried about it. In this case, Beerus, Champa, Hellas, and also Bellman. Well, I think Bellman's more actually concerned about Goku actually beating Jiren, but like he is concerned and others aren't, you know. So that is something. Which does lead me to scene number 4, where that, of course, Goku does lose the little bout they had, and it was a callback to the earlier part, like of Battle of Gods movie, which does lead to Frieza grabbing Goku and saying that this brings back memories on it, and shoots him with a death beam. A lot of people believe that he's healing Goku, but I don't think Frieza would heal somebody with a death beam. But hey, our hopes are in the air. Another thing that I really liked about this episode, which I'm coming up to the conclusion, is that I really liked the fact that everybody kind of was about to team up and fight Jiren together, which was actually really nice. Another thing also was that it was actually nice to sort of get the other gods' input upon the Spirit Bomb and also the Ultra Instinct, because even though they don't necessarily really talk all that much, it was still nice to sort of see their inputs on it. Like, even for some of the other gods right there, who weren't really worried about it in the first place, of Goku having that ability, or Jiren having as much energy as he had. So that's nice. Another thing though is that jumping into the recaps of this episode, there were a lot of things pulled from the Frieza saga onto like the Battle of Gods movie. Like there were a lot of things left and right like that went into this episode that actually made it feel a bit more complete than most of the other episodes. So finishing this off, I really have to talk about the Ultra Instinct. Now, the Ultra Instinct, as I explained earlier, it was that thing that we was talking about where you don't necessarily think, you just act. And most martial artists, they do say this. Like people, they do practice this in real life. I mean, hell, like us as people, like we do that every now and again, where like you just react without even thinking. Like that's just kind of where this is at, and I really like it. You know, now how does Goku master this form, or like is this just a thing of him like absorbing a spirit bomb to basically get to this form again, or does he just have to because now the real question is how does Goku get to this form and stay there when he's in a big fight? It's hard to say, but I do get a feeling that after this, it's slowly gonna turn into Goku trying his hardest to master this fighting style, or master this mode where he doesn't have to think, he just fights. But that is what I gotta say about that. I will see you on the next Jongravesshow. Tell me what do you think about this down in the comment section. I'm out.